were talking about manure earlier and you start thinking about livestock, one of the big things with cattle this time of year is getting that corn silage cut. And there are some concerns when we talk about soil management, fertility, and so on when you're taking silage off of a field.
Okay, well, the first thing that everybody gets concerned about is that we're going to dramatically deplete our organic matter in soil. But what a lot of studies have found is that's not true. How can that be?
Well, not necessarily true. And here's the thing. When you're looking at any plant out there, especially corn, you have to think about this. Yes, there's a lot of above ground growth to that plant, but there's also an equal amount of below ground growth. In fact, some studies have shown there's even more below ground plant material than there is above. So when you're chopping silage, yes, you may be cutting that corn off maybe 6 inches above the ground. That's one thing. So you've taken off maybe half the material of that plant. The other thing is leaving that other half of the plant material intact. And what I'm talking about is doing no-till or strip-till. Leaving that root mass intact is a good thing in your field. It will help maintain your organic matter levels. And yes, your organic matter levels aren't going to be as high as if you left all the plant residue out there. But by the same token, if you do leave all the plant residue out there and you do heavy tillage, you're reducing the organic matter percentage as much as if you just took the silage off and left the root intact.
So basically, in summary, you can go out and cut silage. You really shouldn't be depleting your organic matter as long as you're not doing full-scale tillage.
Well, here's the other question that I get, and I know this is a challenge, especially for large dairies and large cattle operations, is do I need to rotate the ground that I'm taking silage off of each year? Can I continuously do it on the same ground?
It's totally up to you as a farmer what you want to do, but if it was me, I'd be rotating that ground that I have silage on, simply because, yes, there's a slight chance you might decrease the organic matter. There's a little more chance you're going to have erosion. I mean, you just want to be moving things around. And also for insects and diseases, those types of things, it's much better if you can rotate your crops. But if you've got a dairy and you've got ground right across the road, it is pretty nice to be able to bring that
You bet it is.
Right in.
It's a lot less trucking because that is a lot of plant material and a lot of weight that you're going to be moving around. It's nice to do that relatively close to home if you possibly can.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're going to pull silage off the same ground year after year, or maybe every other year, you've got to take a real hard look at what you're removing for nutrients. And if you are cutting silage off ground, we often suggest you put some manure back onto the ground. So we've talked about manure already today, and one of the key things here, like we said earlier, is just don't overdo it on how much manure you're putting back on, because manure contains salt. And when you get too much salt on ground, it can actually be detrimental to crop growth rather than beneficial.
Now, when we're talking about silage corn, there are a number of different concerns, but the big thing is you want the most nutritional value in that silage corn, because that nutrition is then fed through your animals. Whether it's dairy cattle, beef cattle, whatever that you're feeding the silage to, you want to make sure the nutrient content is very high. So it's important throughout the year to manage that corn, whether it's your soil fertility program, your foliar fertility program. Do some tissue testing to see what kind of nutrient values you have, because the more nutrition you can pump in that crop, the more it'll go in your animals.
So when we were growing up, I know it seems like a really, really long time ago for me anyway.
It's getting to be a while now.
but anyway, the way it would usually work is if there was corn that didn't look like it was going to do a good job making grain, we would maybe get low yield on that field or something, we'd go out there and cut silage. Or we'd go take off all the end rows in a number of fields so it was easy to get at the corn later that we were going to harvest. What we're trying to say here is if you properly manage a field for silage, you can get a lot more out of it in terms of both tonnage and nutritional value.
Well, this is a great time to be talking about this because, you know, your seed corn rep is probably out talking to you. I know in our area that's certainly the case. And there's always that question, well, what should I plant for silage? Oh, we've got a dual purpose hybrid. Well, the dual purpose hybrid mysteriously just happens to be one of the top 3 or 4 popular hybrids that they're pushing. That, well, this one gets big and leafy, makes great silage. Take the approach of what's going to be the best for me for silage. I'm going to plant something specifically on good ground. I'm going to fertilize it well. I'm going to manage it well. That's how you end up with the best silage crop possible.
And again, just make sure you're not just looking for tonnage, you're looking for overall nutritional value for your livestock.
Well, there are a lot of concerns as you get your silage harvested. Think about soil organic matter and nutrient load, and you'll have a good, successful silage crop this year.
Well, another thing that's important to having a good crop is good weed control. We'll talk about how to control our weed of the week coming up next.